Welcome to Leigh Dickey TV. Hit subscribe to follow along with the fun. Now let's get on to today's video. A commentary on Abyss in TNA/Impact Wrestling. I think he should have gotten more world title runs. I tell you why next. Alright, so Abyss in TNA/Impact Wrestling. Now, I first came to notice Abyss around, say, late 03 into 04 when I think TNA got their deal with Fox Sports. So this was shortly after, like, their weekly pay-per-views. Like, I knew of the NWA TNA weekly pay-per-views, but I never did order them weekly because, like, $10 a week is a bit much, even for 2002. Like, that's, even now, $10 a week, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm ordering pay-per-view or even paying a streaming service $10 a week, to be fair. But it's just, you know, how I came to know Abyss was, and Joseph Park, the man who played the Abyss character, it was through TNA and, like, their first go-around on Fox Sports, or even, I think it aired up here in Canada on the French equivalent to TSN. I'm not sure if it aired an English counterpart programming at all, but somebody who knows better about that can let me know down in the comments, please and thank you. But Abyss in TNA, I first noticed him when they were doing the Fox Sports thing, TNA I mean, when they first brought Impact onto Fox Sports on, like, Friday afternoons. Of course, I did know about the weekly shows because I did tune into the free pre-shows whenever I could, and I knew of Abyss and, like, the recaps and whatever. So, like, you had Russo, Sports Entertainment Extreme, obviously Jeff Jarrett because it was his company at the time, and a bunch of others like Elix Skipper, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. Like, you know, I knew all about those guys, you know, and, like, some early CM Punk. This is about, I think, sometime between, like, 2002 and 2004. But I first got to really know Abyss from when TNA got on to Fox Sports in the US, and I managed to find some clips and stream some things. This is back in the early days of streaming and, like, the early days of sort of video on the internet, right? At least as to what we know now is, like, YouTube and, like, the various streaming sites. I know that Impact's got, like, Impact Plus, and I'm actually, like, I've been curious about, like, what Impact Plus as an app is like. So if anybody has any sort of experience with Impact Plus, the app, let me know down in the comments as well, please and thank you. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast app and player of choice as well, if you would. If you want to leave your impressions of, say, anything I mention in this episode down in your review, you may do so, please and thanks. When it came to my first exposure to Abyss, yes, there was the weekly NWA TNA pay-per-views, but like I said earlier, I could only tune into the pre-shows because I was only, say, like, in my early teens at that time, and, you know, ordering pay-per-view weekly was ludicrous even then. Well, it's ludicrous even now, to be honest with you, because $10 in 2002 is expensive, and $10 a week now I still find somewhat expensive. So, you know, like, it was limited, and we don't get Fox Sports up here in Canada, at least, like, at the time I don't think we did, and even now I don't think we do. But TNA had Impact airing at, like, 3 o'clock on Friday afternoons on Fox Sports in the US, and, like, I would stream the clips, and I found some episodes and things like that. But and I got to see him. So he was doing sort of squash matches, and it just with, like, enhancement talent. I remember one when TNA got on Spike, I think, when he went against Jarrell Clark and just basically squashed him. So, you know, like, you had the shell shock backbreaker, he had the black hole slam, 1, 2, 3. It was, like, academic, and he was just booked as this unstoppable monster. I love the Abyss character. For some reason, I always gravitate towards the bigger guys in wrestling. So like the Big Show, Kane, The Undertaker, Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, Abyss, you know, like these big dudes. Like I'm 5'5", 160 pounds. Okay, you think I love the cruiserweights more? No, I'm more into like the big guys in wrestling, those imposing giants. You know, you have people like I just listed off a few: Big John Studd, Andre the Giant, The Big Show, Abyss, Kane, The Undertaker. The list goes on and on and on. I am not putting the Great Khali on this list. Yes, physically he was impressive. Couldn't move, okay? Wasn't necessarily the best wrestler. But as a person that's like more than 7 feet tall, I'm always going to find that impressive, and I'm always going to wonder like how, right? I think Abyss was around 6'8" to 6'10", about 325, 350. He's a big, imposing dude, big, scary, imposing character. Was booked like this unstoppable monster, and it worked. When TNA's first sort of flirtation with Abyss came up, I think he was paired with James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and like he'd always call for Abyss to end the matches with Doomsday, and like he'd shoot him off the Black Hole Slam, all that thing, 1, 2, 3, academic, there's your win, right? I remember Abyss had a feud with Rhino, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, I think Monty Brown on their first, like TNA's first ever sort of proper monthly pay-per-view, which was I think Victory Road 2004. Abyss, like the Abyss character was booked as this unstoppable monster sort of at first, and even for a good long while in TNA / Impact. He had feuds with Sabu, Mick Foley, I think, as a Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, you know, Monty Brown, I think Dustin Rhodes, aka Black Rain, Matt Morgan, Dr. Stevie, aka Stevie Richards, like, and they're mainly sort of hardcore feuds because he's mainly booked as sort of a hardcore-esque wrestler, like Monsters Ball, Full Metal Mayhem, and it just, like, I think that aura of him being this imposing guy is what drew me to him. I think his only, like, sort of heavyweight title run came when TNA / Impact still had rights to use the NWA title, right? They had broken off from the NWA in, I think, 2004, and I think they had the rights to use the NWA titles until about 2007. And I think Abyss only had one world title run when he defeated Sting for the NWA title sometime in 2006, and it didn't last very long. From what I remember hearing, Sting was keen to do the favors because they really wanted to push Abyss to the moon. Not that they hadn't done that already for the previous, say, 3 to 4 years, but I think they really wanted to make him a main event player. And it's not that he hasn't been or ever was, but like he had the stable with Decay, Rosemary, and Crazy Steve. I think they were the NWA or TNA Tag Team Champions, or they had some title runs when they had that whole Decay thing going on with Abyss, Rosemary, and Crazy Steve, which I actually really enjoyed. The whole Joseph Park thing, not so much. I was like, okay, I can see they're trying to change things up and go a different route, but to me, like the whole Chris Parks, Joseph Park thing didn't really work for me. You know what I mean? With him going from being Abyss and playing Abyss's brother to being sort of like this legal type, sort of, I don't want to call him a nerd, but like somebody that would cower in a corner, right? Because he's not a trained wrestler. We all know he's a trained wrestler, right? But I preferred the Abyss character. Like, Abyss was one of my favorite characters ever, still is one of my favorite characters ever. And I think Park is now a producer or director or agent with the WWE. Like, he's in some backstage role, right? He came on, I think, a year or two ago or something like that, and I think he's been there ever since. And good for him, but, you know, I know he's in the TNA Impact Hall of Fame now, but I think that he should have had more title runs, just because, you know, you can make the argument too that the Abyss character didn't necessarily need the title runs because he was booked as sort of like this unstoppable monster, right? He didn't need it, and it was fine. But to me, I think it would have been nice to see him, you know, get the TNA heavyweight title at least once. I think the NWA title, like I said earlier, was probably the only heavyweight title run that he had in TNA/Impact. I could be wrong. If I am, somebody correct me in the comments below. Please and thank you. And in the review of this episode, if you're listening to this in audio form. But, you know, I think that he was imposing enough that you could have put the heavyweight title on him at least once, maybe twice. You know, I know that they put the tag team titles on him a bunch of times, and he had various prominent feuds with Rhino, Raven, Sabu, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy. Did he have one with Christian Cage? I think he might have. I can't remember. But he was featured prominently for his entire tenure in TNA, like Dr. Stevie and Richards. You know, I actually really enjoyed that feud. But I just think that he could have carried the heavyweight title more than they gave him a shot to. And again, you can make the argument that he was so imposing and booked like this unstoppable monster that titles didn't matter. And you know what? You'd be right too on that count. And I wouldn't argue with you. But just in my personal opinion, I think he could have gotten more world title runs. But those are just my opinions, and those are my thoughts, and this is just my commentary on Abyss in TNA/Impact. I do remember the whole Bischoff-Hogan tenure in TNA, where Abyss, I think, was aligned with Hogan, and Immortal Hogan gave Abyss sort of his Hall of Fame ring or something to that effect. And Abyss was like, oh, I feel the power of Hulkamania running through me, Hulk, you know. And that's where it kind of, I'm like, okay, Abyss didn't need Hogan. Like, why did we put Abyss with Hogan? Why did we put him on, even on the fringe with Immortal? Because at that point, like, he didn't need it. I don't know what they were trying to do. Couldn't figure it out. Quite frankly, like, Bischoff, Hogan in TNA, like, that whole, for me anyway, as a fan of TNA, and well, just as a fan of wrestling, I don't think, like, Bischoff and Hogan didn't need to go to TNA, right? They didn't need to go to Impact. They didn't need them. It just, to me, it kind of, I'm like, nah, man. But when, like, that whole Immortal and Fortune thing happened, and then you had Hogan giving Abyss, I think, either a ring or his Hall of Fame ring, and Abyss was like, I can feel the power of Hulkamania. Didn't need that. We didn't need that to happen. And I was just like, why? I mean, there was that whole, I think Abyss had this a 2x4 or something with nails through it. He called it Janice, which I, again, thought that was really strange, but I mean, it's Abyss, and he's like, you're bordering on like strange happenings and whatever would have. It's wrestling, it doesn't have to make sense. But to me, like, Abyss as an unstoppable monster, you didn't need the whole Immortal or Hogan Bischoff thing. You didn't need the Janice thing. I mean, he was at his best when he was this unstoppable monster just squashing everybody. That's just my opinion. Like, his Monsters Ball matches, those Full Metal Mayhem matches, Barbed Wire Massacre with Sabu, okay, fine, sure, but Abyss is and will always be best as an unstoppable monster, immovable, sort of unstoppable squash match machine who will just run his way through guys, no questions asked. I think I did actually enjoy his run as the X Division champion, because I think he took the belt off of Rob Van Dam, and like, at that point, I actually did enjoy that simply because it's like, it's the X Division, there are no weight limits, you put the title on Abyss, how do you get it off of him? Of course, they managed to do that, and I actually can't even remember how, but to me, I thought it was something different, and I thought it was it was quirky, I thought it was cool, but that's just, I mean, these are just my opinions, right? Like, I love Abyss, I'm always going to love the Abyss character, and I just think, to me anyway, he could have had more world title runs. I'm pretty sure. I think he had the TNA Legends / Global / like television championship too. But if I'm wrong, somebody let me know that down in the comments. It's like tag team. I do remember him having one NWA heavyweight title run and that X Division title run, but that's pretty much it. Like, he was best as this immovable, unstoppable monster who just squashes guys like it's nobody's business. That's just where I think Abyss excelled and where I think the booking of him excelled. But these are just my opinions and my commentary on the Abyss character in TNA / Impact. But there you go, there you have it, my thoughts on Abyss from his days in TNA / Impact Wrestling. Let me know if I missed anything, post it down in the comments below. What are your opinions of Abyss from his days in TNA / Impact? Please do comment, like, share, and subscribe right here to Leigh Dickey TV for more episodes and videos just like this one. Please do subscribe, comment, leave us a 5-star rating and review to all my podcasts, the Beats and Speaks podcast, Yo Nostalgia, and Pinfall, a pro wrestling podcast. All right, thank you very much. This wraps up another video. I have been Leigh Dickey. Again, please comment, like, share, and subscribe right here to Leigh Dickey TV for more episodes and videos just like this one. Please do take care. I hope you enjoyed this video. We will talk to you soon. All right, Leigh Dickey signing off. We'll talk to you later. Peace. Thanks for tuning in to Leigh Dickey TV. New episodes are available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe to follow along with the fun.